So a lot of people have been talking about guitars. Wondered what my next guitar should be. Maybe I should listen to Gibson and buy authentic. Perhaps I should get a PRS. Nah, that's for blues lawyers. I don't think so. Jennings guitars are pretty hot right now. Reverends are cool. Not quite spendy enough to really be cool though. Could probably, maybe, if I was really cool, I'd probably get a Duesenberg. Maybe a White Falcon by Gretsch. None of those, $500 Gretches. No, it's got to be at least $3,000 to $4,000. Otherwise, it's just not going to be a good guitar. Maybe a suhr. I don't know. Nah, I'm just gonna get a squier. Yeah, let's go with the squier. Okay, so we're back with 5 reasons why you might want to buy a cheap guitar. And the first reason is being able to mod the guitar without any guilt. So if you've picked up a cheap guitar and you've overall liked the feel and the playability of the guitar, but you're maybe not in love with the pickups, maybe you want to try some different wiring schemes, things like that. Perhaps you want to even go a little bit further, and maybe you wanted to take it from a standard guitar to, let's say, a baritone, and you decided to purchase a baritone neck to put on there. There's different things like that you can do to an inexpensive guitar without having the guilt that you're potentially going to mess up an expensive instrument by trying some of these things which you may or may not even like once you do it to it. And so having the ability then to switch back to the original stock configuration is a lot easier if you're doing it on something that doesn't matter, as opposed to, say, a $4,000 PRS. It would be a lot more heartbreaking to make a mistake on that guitar than it would be to, let's say, on the guitar that I have as the thumbnail in this video, which is a Squier Stratocaster that I bought used for $65. I think that one I'd be a little bit more prone to maybe try some things on. So, number 2, another reason why you might want to go with a cheap guitar is for the damage that has the potential to happen every single time you play. I know for a fact I've seen some crazy things happen. When I was playing with my band For Those Who Kill a long time ago, we were playing in this little dive bar in Texas, and the other guitar player was actually borrowing our bass player's SG, and being young and dumb, we were throwing our guitars all over the place, and that SG flew off the strap and landed directly on the neck. And if any of you guys are aware of what happens with Gibson design necks, they tend to break. And that's exactly what that SG did. Thankfully it was a epiphone. It wasn't a full-on Gibson, but still heartbreaking to see a guitar just snap like that. It just makes you sick. Other things more simple, like maybe you have your guitar leaning up against your amp, and as you walk away you trip over the wire and you pull your guitar over and it hits the stage and breaks something. Or maybe it just comes off the strap and it just swings down. That happened to the first Strat I ever owned. I was practicing with it outside with my band, and it came out of the strap and it fell down and it hit the concrete and totally took a huge chunk out of the back of the guitar. Just made me really sad when that happened, but these things do happen when you play out. Heaven forbid you play a show too. Maybe somebody likes your gear and they decide to run off with your guitar when you're busy loading into your trailer. Things like this happen. So all of those are valid reasons why you may want to go with a cheaper guitar as opposed to something really, really nice. So, number 3, why you may want to go with a cheap guitar as opposed to an expensive guitar. There's this thing called the law of diminishing returns. A $500 guitar is going to be nicer than a $200 guitar. That's a given. And a $1,000 guitar is going to be better than a $500 guitar. However, once you get up over, let's say, $1,500, I think you really start to lose any true added value, and rather quickly too. Here's a prime example. I have a friend who has several PRS guitars, and I've had the opportunity to play both his and several other PRSs. And I'm a fan of PRS. They make good guitars. The thing is, he has some that are in the $1,000 range, and they play fantastic. They feel fantastic. And then he has that $4,000 one with the wood library. It has all the special woods. It's nice, but I don't know that I can say that it's $3,000 nicer than his $1,000 PRS. And even at that point, that $1,000 PRS, I probably am not the type of person to mod a guitar that's that expensive. For me, it's going to be the sub $500 guitars that I would be choosing to mod. Like I said, that's specifically the reason why I chose to pick up that Squier Strat for 65 bucks. That's why I like to work on kits, because I can try things on those without fear that I'm going to be messing up a really nice instrument. And I think also, once you get to that certain dollar point, that if you start doing mods to a guitar, once they hit that dollar point, that you're actually taking value away from the guitar, because your ability to take that guitar and turn around and sell it as a stock model is going to be much higher than if you've done some crazy wiring scheme and people don't know you and they don't know the quality of your solder work. Might not be as reliable, might not have the value that you think it does. So again, if you're like me and you're prone to want to experiment with some different sounds, some different pickups, different wiring options, it's probably best to do that on a guitar that doesn't cost so much money. And another side note with that is that, for me at least, if I'm going to spend big money on a guitar, which I have done, I would want to make sure that that guitar was perfect as it was, because I wouldn't want to have to put anything into it to make that guitar what I would want it to be later on. It should more or less be exactly what I want for the kind of money that you're putting into it. So that's another thought to approach this with. So reason number 4 of why you might want a cheap guitar is that the most of the needed upgrades that you would want to do to that guitar to bring it up to, let's say, the next rung in the value ladder there would be fairly inexpensive. Pots are not expensive for the guitar. I mean, to buy high-end ones, you're talking, maybe $3 a piece, not much. Pickups, you can put whatever you want in there. You can go anywhere from cheap pickups you can get on Amazon for like 15 bucks all the way up through, your premium Lawlers, Lambertones, McNellys, whatever the case may be, that happens to be your flavor. You could put whatever you want in there, anywhere along that price spectrum of whatever you feel you're willing to pay. And if, let's say you start off with, let's say, a $200 Squier, and you wind up putting a set of $200 or $300 pickups in there, it doesn't matter at that point. You're still under $500, but with those added pickups, you've increased the value of that guitar far beyond, I think, what you would have probably gotten by just buying a $500 guitar, because you'd still be stuck with the stock options at that point. And there's a reason why you might want to go with, a DiMarzio or a Seymour Duncan type pickup, or any of those other more boutique brands that I may have mentioned before. There's different sounds out there in those pickups, and they're wound differently. You can get exactly the sound you're looking for if you're willing to put in the time. And so I think that by doing those upgrades yourself, you can actually customize and personalize that instrument exactly how you want, and it's going to pay off more dividends than just putting that money into the next rung on the value ladder. So that's another reason to consider buying a cheap instrument. Okay, and so finally, reason number 5 of why you might want to buy a cheap guitar is, as I've said, if you've done some experimenting on some of these cheaper guitars and you've tried out your different P90s, you've tried Filtertrons, you've tried various different single coils and Jazzmaster styles and different humbuckers with different windings to know what you like and what you don't like, what options you find useful to your playing and what ones you don't. then I think that you're going to be actually a lot more prepared if you decide to go out and drop big money on a really nice guitar later. You'll know which features you need already built into that guitar so that you're not wasting your money on a guitar that you're going to get, but it's still going to be not quite what you're looking for. So I hope you find that useful. That's 5 reasons why you might be able to find that a cheap guitar is exactly what you need. So that's it for this week on Wolf Guitars and Gear. Thanks for stopping by. I hope that you found this information useful. Maybe it's something to think about as you're pursuing your next guitar. And if there's anything I can do to help you out in that, please don't hesitate to let me know. And I'll be glad to do whatever I can to help you. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and that you click the bell so that you receive all future episodes. I look forward to seeing you next time right here on Wolf Guitars and Gear. Have a great week.